Hello everyone, Lengie Kukansang. I just wanted to start off a series of short videos about Tibetan language, and I wanted to begin with talking about issues of Tibetan spelling, because honestly the hardest part of learning Tibetan language is learning how to spell and read Tibetan words. This is because Tibetan spelling is quite complicated, and it's not just a matter of recognizing individual letters, but recognizing how letters get put together in the syllables of Tibetan words, because the way that different letters get put together can affect how the word itself gets pronounced, and there are different rules to memorize, and then there are some exceptions to the rules that have to be memorized as well. And so if you don't have someone to guide you at the beginning to learn how to spell and how to read these Tibetan words, then it can be quite difficult to learn how to read and write in Tibetan. So I wanted to start off with a few short videos with examples of interesting Tibetan words that we can learn how to spell them, how to spell out the words, and why the sounds are pronounced the way they are in those examples. And so that will should hopefully act as a gateway for people to start to learn how to read and write in Tibetan, for those who don't know. And now, in order to follow along these videos properly, then one should have already learned the Tibetan alphabet, and this is something that you can do by yourself. There are plenty of images online of the Tibetan alphabet that have transliterations of them in English with more or less similar sounds to the original Tibetan alphabet, so you can actually learn those by yourself and then follow along in my videos. However, even if you haven't learned the alphabet, you should still be able to follow along, because I'll actually be spelling out the sounds as we go through the words themselves. Okay? So I wanted to start off with this very popular Tibetan greeting, because it's commonly spoken and because it also has an interesting spelling that will clarify a lot of the issues in Tibetan spelling and how to spell out Tibetan words. So, starting off with this word, we have our first syllable, okay? And now, the syllables in Tibetan are separated by this little dot here, which is called a tsek, okay? The tsek separates the syllables in Tibetan. There aren't any spaces in Tibetan, so each syllable is just separated by a tsek, okay? And you have to just be able to identify a complete word just by knowing the word, basically. Once you know the words, then you don't need spaces to be able to separate and distinguish between different words. So this first syllable here, it starts off with the prefix ba. Okay, ba is one of the prefixes for Tibetan spelling. And then we have the root letter ka. We have the root letter ka. Okay, how do we know this is the root letter? Because ba is one of the prefixes, and because this ka has a subscript. So when a letter has a subscript in a Tibetan syllable, that automatically tells you that the letter in that column is the root letter, or the main letter that gets pronounced first, primarily in the syllable, okay? So here we have ka, and we have the subscript ratag. So this ratag is basically the letter ra, okay, but because it gets placed underneath root letters, it gets called ratag. So then this syllable gets spelled out like this: bao, ka, rata, da. Okay, because you're adding the ratag to this ka, then it gets a da sound, da. It's a little weird for English speakers, but this is how it's basically pronounced, as da, okay? And then we have the next syllable. Okay, again, we have a tsek here, so we know this is our second syllable. And in the second syllable, we have this root letter sha, okay? We know this sha is the root letter because of the kiku, all right? when a letter has a vowel marker over it, one of the 4 vowel markers, then we know that that letter is the root letter. Okay, so we have sha, kiku, shi. So the kiku gives like an E sound basically. Sha, kiku, shi. Sa, we have the suffix sa here, and the suffix sa is an interesting suffix in that it is silent, and in some cases it will affect the vowel sound. Not in this case, however, it's just silent. So sha, kiku, shi, sa, shi. Okay, and then our third syllable, again we have the prefix ba. Okay, so bao, da, jangbo, de. Okay, so we have the jangbo, another one of the vowel markers. Okay, another one of the yang shi. So it's bao, da, jangbo, de. Okay, and da normally has some aspiration sound, right? But because of this prefix, then it loses the aspiration sound, so it sounds very close to the English D sound. Okay, de. And then our final syllable is la, jangbo, le. Okay, we know this la is the root letter because the jangbo, the vowel marker jangbo, is above it. La, jangbo, le. Ka, sa, lek. Okay, so this ga as a suffix does get pronounced. It's not like the sa that we saw before, this sa. However, this, what we call post-suffix sa, does still remain silent. Okay, so this just gets pronounced as lek. Okay, so the whole thing then together gets pronounced as ta, shi, de, lek. Ta, shi, de, lek. Very common Tibetan greeting, especially on Losar. Ta, shi, de, lek. Basically meaning hello, or good luck, or sometimes congratulations. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that short segment, and I hope this helped to clarify how to start to spell out Tibetan words.